Hello friends, it's Dudu here again. Welcome back to my channel. And last month I got back from Morocco, which marks the 40th country that I have been to in this world. And just to give you a quick recap, so I have been to most of the South American countries since I studied a semester in Colombia and also backpacked all the way down to Argentina. That was a quite long backpack journey. And I've been to, I studied in the States, so I traveled a bit in Central America as well. And I was born in China. I've been to like Korea, Thailand, India. That's so far where I've been to in Asia, so I still need to travel more in Asia. And I grew up in Australia, so I've done most of Australia, and now I'm living in Berlin. And I've traveled to quite a lot of European countries. What is my favorite country for backpacking and traveling? And the answer is, drumroll, it's hard to pick one. It is Cuba. Yeah, so I went to Cuba in 2015 because I did a semester at UPenn, and during the break I spontaneously bought a ticket to Cuba, and it was fascinating. At the time I went, I think it was, I can't remember, it was like before the embargo or just right after the embargo was lifted. So there was still like not a crazy touristy crowd in Cuba, and it just feels like it's a country frozen in time. And the fun story is, so when I was at the airport, I was so panicked because I got a stamp on the passport, and at that time I've heard of rumors that if you got a stamp you can't go back into the States or something like that. And so while being so panicked, I just like asked two guys next to me after the customs. I was like, oh, did you get stamped as well? And they were like, yeah, and they're from the States. We have like quite a good vibe, so thinking about, yeah, we can meet up again, because I was traveling with another friend in Cuba, but there was no internet and not even Wi-Fi, but just like no internet in Havana. I was in Havana, right? And there were only like a few spots in some fancy hotels that you can use internet. And so at the airport we were like, yeah, let's meet up again, but how? So we just went like the super old-fashioned way. I was like, okay, so tomorrow at 12 we meet at, so we basically like, I downloaded like offline map and we just pinpoint like a square. It looks like the city center, like the main square in the city. So we're like, okay, let's just meet there at 12 at this square. It looks like a small park on Google Maps, so we were like, yeah, that should be easy to find each other. And then we said goodbye because I had to get on the taxi to see my friend because she was already in Cuba. And so the next day, me and my friend went to the square, and it was really funny. So I saw two other guys at the square, and they vaguely looked very touristy. And since the encounter the day before was so brief that I vaguely remember what they looked like, so we just started like waving at two random guys at the square and thought they are the American guys that I met the day before, but turned out they're the wrong people. But it was like hilarious. We basically stayed for like 5 or 10 more minutes until they actually showed up. And I know that no internet is very difficult for local people, but as a traveler, like a detox from technology is quite interesting experience. I didn't use internet, and if you want to see someone, you meet them in person, you chat in person. That was like a real nice experience to me. And also when you decide to meet someone, say you know, nowadays people are always late, and then 5 minutes before they'll send you a text, oh sorry, I'm 5 minutes late, or stuff like that. But when there's no internet, no instant connection, a promise is a promise. So if you say 12, I'm gonna be there, then you're actually gonna be there, and then you're actually gonna wait until the person shows up. So my favorite place so far is Cuba. That's for traveling. I don't know, somehow after these many places that I've lived in, I think Melbourne is quite nice. I like Australia. It's a quite nice place to live. For me, the European winter is crazy, and so in Australia the winter is quite mild. Climate-wise, Australia definitely has better climate. If you move to a place to live, you need to consider everything: the social benefits, the work situation, you know, the salary. And I think the best work and life balance you can find probably is in Australia, because still the wage is quite high compared to Europe in general, and the cost of living, even though it's a bit higher than Europe, but it's not so much higher. So it gives you way more time to enjoy your life and just to relax. So that's just my opinion. That's like a little summary of my travel experiences, and I'm definitely looking forward to more countries to not only take off but to experience. And I wanted to say I started to intensively travel since I was 20, so that has only been 4 years. 4 years I've been to nearly 40 countries. So, you know, life is short. If you want to go someplace, go now. And when you're still young and you have all this energy to walk around, to learn, and to, you know, just get to know people, do that. So yeah, don't just leave it as a dream. Like, step out, you will see how big this world is, but also how small this world can be. It's a fascinating experience, and so yeah, don't let your dream be true. And if you like this video, just give me a like and subscribe below for more videos about my travel life and my expat life in Berlin. Stay tuned. Bye.